Welcome to another edition of the Portuguese Women in Tech podcast, where we are celebrating inspiring women in leadership. This series is brought to you by Natixis in Portugal, and today is a special day. We are also celebrating Girls in ICT Day, 24th of April, and so this conversation is also in the context of that. My name is Inês Silva. I'm the co-founder of Portuguese Women in Tech. Throughout this series, we are shining a light on women who have forged their own path, embracing change, overcoming doubt, leading teams, and making real difference in the world around them. Today, I'm very excited to introduce someone whose journey is all about courage, reinvention, and purpose. So we have Ana Pinto with us, a leader who has transitioned from the world of social impact to technology, and who brings a powerful perspective on leadership and inclusion. Anna, great to have you here. Very excited with our conversation. And your journey is not linear, right? You went from engineering to anthropology, and then later to occupational therapy and tech. Can you tell us a little bit of your story, how everything started, and where you are right now?
Yes. Hello. Um, it's always funny to hear not linear still nowadays. But yes, I was always not moved, but motivated by curiosity. I was a very curious person, always learning new things and reading a lot. And I never knew what I wanted because my interests would change every day. So I was very focused on the science, building things. My grandfather was a handyman, so I was always in his how to say
Workshop.
and I was always there creating, making new things, and I liked that. So I think it was following this interests. I went to engineering. And then it was okay. I liked it. But yet, when I was younger, I started to learn also social things and made part of some movements of students, some associations. And so I learned about the social impact and how the world works. And I got very interested in that. So I decided to change my degree in the end of the second year, and I started to study anthropology, and I liked it a lot. I studied it, and in the last year, I went to Brazil to make my thesis. It was about cultural poverty. It was a theme that I liked, always human rights and things that make some impact. And so I went to that place and worked with kids that were on the streets. I helped on their inclusion at school, and I noticed then that in my free time, I was always with the teachers at the school. I was not resting. I was with them, with the blind, deaf, kids with a lot of behavior problems, autistic children, and I was always there with the teachers. So I noticed that it was okay for me to learn because I like it a lot and I like to observe and to know how things work, but it was also important for me to get my hands on the work. And I was wondering if I would like to be um, a little bit different and maybe study something that gave me tools to work for this purpose. And so when I came back, I was writing my thesis and I applied to occupational therapy. And then I studied occupational therapy. I worked as an occupational therapist for about 10 years, I think. And I was always on school set environments because I really love the theme of inclusive school. That's really important for me to be a part of someone that builds a school that is for everybody, not only for some people. And and then I was quite okay with that, and I met some great teachers and some great professionals. But it was really hard to work in public schools and try to make inclusion a reality. So there was a time when I get really sad about it, and I thought that I needed to do something else because I was not happy being an occupational therapist anymore. And so I started to. I had two little kids, and I had to do something that that made me get some money to be a provider for them, and also that I liked this science thing, and
Mhm.
I thought I could be a good programmer.
You went back to your origins.
Yeah, I went back to my origins and thought about something that could give me fast money and that I could enjoy doing it.
Mhm.
And that was my goal. So I went to a Java bootcamp
Mhm.
and I started my applications,
Mhm.
and well, I'm here.
It's interesting because it's in the beginning I said like non-linear path, right? And you mentioned it, and I feel like there are no linear paths anymore, right? I think every conversation that I have, the first one was with Inês Tavares, and like she doesn't have a linear path, right? And I think like we still have this idea, and I think a lot of the times even parents try to incentivize their children to have a linear path
Hmm.
because we look at it as a safe path, right?
Hmm.
But maybe in the world that we are living today, where change is all around, everything is changing, new technologies are coming up, new jobs. Like when I was studying, a lot of the things that I do today were impossible when I was like 15 years old,
Hmm.
20 years old, right? The world really changed. So maybe we should actually incentivize linear paths or non-linear
Yeah.
paths, because like this will actually help us prepare better for a different world, right?
Yeah.
But I think like a lot of the times, and I'm sure that happened to you, people were questioning your decisions, your choices. How did you deal with that? Like, how was it easy for you? What was it hard? How did you deal with the constant questioning about your decisions, going from engineering to anthropology to Brazil to occupational therapy is a big shift. How were you dealing with like with the external voices that were questioning your choices?
Yeah. As I told you in the beginning, it was it's still a bit. I get a little bit shy and embarrassed when I think about my non-linear path. Um, for me, it makes a lot of sense,
Hmm.
this path in my case, but it was really hard for me to deal with the people around that were not agreeing with my decisions and the way that I moved all the time. I was always Anna that did not commit to anything,
Hmm.
and this made me always very, I don't know, ashamed a little bit of myself. I knew that I was committed, but I could not follow something that I was not interested.
No.
In my mind and in my heart, I knew that was right, and I'm very focused on what I want. But for the people around me, it was not like that. I
You were
was
committed
rebel,
to the
and
path, to yourself, not to the path, right?
yeah, of
Yeah.
course. No, it is. I was never a rebel
Hmm.
inside. I never felt like a rebel. It looked like it, but
Hmm.
not for me. For me, it was clear that I could not do this anymore, and I had to change to this. It was something that was felt
Hmm.
all the time.
Yeah. I think you mentioned something in our previous conversation where you said that people still to this day ask you like, "What are you doing now?"
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel? Like, how do you deal with that?
Well, I think now a little bit better with age, I guess, and especially because now I'm raising my kids,
Hmm.
and I want them to have the path they want.
Hmm.
And I think they are bringing that to me also, to know that my path is okay. Um, but it's still a little bit frustrating, no? They always talk to me as if I was someone that did not know,
Hmm.
that does not know what she wants.
Yeah.
And I clearly know, otherwise I would not be here.
No. No, makes sense. So you made this so big. You mentioned like this bold move of moving to tech. You start a Java. You join a Java bootcamp. You also joined the Portuguese in Tech
Yes.
mentorship program,
Yeah.
and then you face 50 rejections. Right. So it's 50
Yes.
interviews, 49 no's, one
Yeah.
yes. How was like for you going through that rejection at the age that you were in, with also like the responsibilities that you were facing?
Yeah.
Like how did you like how did you survive that period of your life?
Well, it was very bad. It was very difficult time. I was going to bring my notebook
Hmm.
with all the interviews scheduled and all the rejections, because it's a very fun notebook. And it was a very dark phase because I had two babies at home and I needed to provide, and I was not sure about what was going to happen. I made a bet that I could go into tech, but I did not have any positive answer.
Hmm.
So it was really difficult. I started running by that time because I needed some hormones to give me some, I don't know,
Positive energy.
yeah, because I was really getting depressed. And so I started running, and I lived in Kaistgaia, so nearby the river. And during the winter, I would run at 6:30, and it was full of fog. And I remember that this was a perfect metaphor for my life. Like, I cannot see the end of the road, but I just have to run. And so I would get home, and they were waking up, and I felt better. But it was a really difficult period of my life. I would call my friends and call my brother and crying. I have an interview this afternoon. I'm ugly, and all these things that we go through. It's
Yeah,
not,
because you start questioning yourself.
of
Like
course,
after so many no's, it takes a lot of resilience to keep going, right?
and especially because I'm a provider. No, I need to guarantee that I'm a real partner to my partner. We are together on this, and I was not bringing any money home, so it's quite difficult period.
So since you joined Natixis, you now also like have taken like different roles, leadership roles, and something that you shared with me that I found it was so interesting was that so you didn't leave yourself behind, right? So you didn't become Anna the software developer. You are Anna the software developer with all this like rich past. How do you bring that rich past to what you are doing? So it's not about leaving anything behind. It's about building upon something that yourself, right, and bringing everything bringing everything to the work that you do. How do you do that?
Um, it's kind of easy in that sense that when I started this, I had this mindset that I start in Java as a junior developer. I'm not just a junior developer. Now I have to build all my life. So for me, it was clear again, only for me, that I was a junior developer, but I was also a former anthropologist, occupational therapist, and also these layers. So for me, it was clear that I had more skills than just a developer of Java. And of course, I wanted to be a tech person. I wanted to be a developer, so I wanted to pursue this. And I was very stubborn, and I had to learn a lot. I was always studying programming. But then there was a time when I said, no, this is really hard, and I have some other skills that I can take to do this job better. So I started to bring these skills that I had, this my personality and all the things that I've learned from the past, the things I learned about inclusion, the things I'd learned about working with different people, and all my experience from the social area. And that's where I bring this notion of inclusion, how to work with teams, how to deal with people. And this is more natural to me because I'm way more experienced on that than in Java or Angular.
Yeah. Basically, I think like I think all those skills that you've built before, like the collaboration, the project management, team management, all of those things are things that now make you a better professional. But you didn't forget those, right? You didn't leave them behind. You actually are building on top of those,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's super important because I feel a lot of the times, and for example, with Portuguese Women in Tech, we now have a lot of women going to reskilling programs, right? And it seems like for a lot of them, it's just like starting over from the very beginning, and it's not, right?
No, never.
No.
No, it's just not here. You start from here and you just add layers and layers and layers.
Yeah.
So you're much more than just what you're starting now.
Something that you mentioned that's super interesting is the inclusion part, right? That's super important for you. How do you bring that to work? How does that translate in your day to day?
Because for me, the world was never only normal people. Was never. I was not someone that was considered normal because I didn't have a normal path, as I was told. And also all the things of social things that I learned is that we are all different, so we have to work in an environment full with different people, and we also have to build things for different people. And this is what I bring is we have to be flexible, human, intelligent, and be able to speak with people as human like us, and to understand their how to say, their weaknesses and their strengths, and empower these things.
Mhm.
You know, and build something, include everyone in the decision making process to build something that really has an impact in the world.
Mhm.
If it's a bank or if it's something else in some other area. But we build for different people, so we have to build things that serve different people. So the teams that build them need to also to be diverse.
Yeah.
And this talk with people that are different from us is something that you learn. No?
Mhm.
It's just your eye has to be trained for that.
Mhm.
And for me, it's quite natural to do this. And I also I always ask my manager to bring different people for our team, and because they really bring different things that I would never think about, and this makes everything richer and also more productive,
Mhm.
and we bring more value to the companies if we do this.
Yeah.
So for me, inclusion is very, very natural and important, of course.
And that also connects very well with something that you are very also passionate about gender inclusion, right? Or gender equity. And I know that like you feel like there's still things missing from this conversation, right? Can you share a little bit with us, like what's your point of view in terms of what's missing from the conversation of like gender equality, especially in companies, right?
Mm. Gender equality is like other
Mhm.
equality.
Yeah.
So
It's a part
uh,
of
yeah,
many other equalities, right?
exactly. The feeling is a little bit the same with other how to say other
Bubbles.
yeah,
Mm.
maybe other
Right.
bubbles. Um, and in this case, the conversation needs to be about what is this? What is being different?
Mhm.
How do I feel differently? What is this? What makes me different from others? And what makes me feel wrong about being this way?
Mhm.
And things that would not be said if someone knew this, had this information. And the most important thing that I think needs to be done is to leave the communications departments and leave the HR departments and bring this conversation to operational teams, to developers teams. In case of gender equality, there's a team with 30 developers and uh, one woman and 30 men, and the conversation needs to reach these
Yeah.
men that work with this only
Mhm.
woman, and these conversations, they don't leave the HR and the communications department most of the times.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think we all have to learn how to talk about these things, right? I remember, I think like now I feel that a little bit less, but I remember when a long, long time ago I went. It was in 2010, 11. I went to I think 10. I went to London and I went to an event on gender equality, and people were talking about it, and I don't understand this what they are talking about, and the reason is because like they have the level of like conversation that I was not ready for, right? And I think a lot of the times it's still new, this conversation in Portugal. Even though it seems like we have been doing this for a long time, it's still new, right?
Hmm?
It takes time for people to
Mm.
actually learn how to talk about these things, understand the perspective of others. And I think going back to what you're saying about like the empathy, right? The putting yourself on the shoes of others. That's where the inclusion and all those skills actually are super
Yeah,
important. No matter not only in gender equality, but in everywhere, right?
another
So
bubbles.
exactly. So I think that's super, super important that to make sure that we keep on strengthening the conversation because we still have a lot to learn.
Yes.
And hopeful like and we need to be open for that conversation, right? And we should actually start that conversation super early, because I feel like with time it becomes harder, but we need to start that conversation early, right?
Mhm.
Last question, advice. So I think a lot of women that are listening to us are women that, or even men, like some of them are about to go to the job market, and you share your experience of like being rejected 50 times or 49 times. There is also the people that are thinking about changing careers, right, and moving and having a lot of doubts. Should I do it? Should I not do it? And then there are also people that are about to or in leadership roles, right, and are also facing the challenges of that. For each one of these group of people, can you share one advice to each one of them? Like,
Mm.
what do you think?
The people that want to change the tech.
You can start with the people that are about to join the job market, right, for
Okay.
the first time.
Yes, they have to try different things, to talk with professionals that already work in those fields, and if they really want that, they can think about 50 rejections
Mhm.
and realize that this is a matter of wanting and going and pursue that.
Mhm.
But first, talk with all the people they know that work in that field, experiment, summer jobs, everything that they need to learn how to do their job, and if it's that job that they want to pursue.
Mhm. For the first one. The second one is for people that are considering maybe transitioning careers like you did.
Yeah.
What is your advice?
Hmm. That's more difficult because when it's something that comes from within, it's difficult to touch about in other person's inside. But
Mhm.
I would say that is about. I think it's a cliche, and I didn't want to say this, but it's a little bit like listening to themselves and realizing if it makes sense, if it makes them interested, motivated. Because if they are doing something that does not motivate them, does not make them wake up in the morning, or if they don't have a purpose to do that, even if it's to pay bills, it's a good purpose,
No.
and it's okay. But if they don't want to grow there, if they are in a place they don't want to grow, they don't want to improve, and then change,
No.
just go.
Just take that a leap of faith and
Yeah,
just
and if
do it.
doesn't work, go back.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, yeah. And last one was for people that are in leadership or in leadership positions or about to become a leader. What do you have in terms of as advice?
Yeah, I like this role a lot.
Mhm.
I think right now I have the best work,
Mhm.
the work that I like the most.
Mhm.
Um, and the way that I lead is about service
Mhm.
and being with my team and empower them and making a collaborative space. And what I would say is that people that are in this or starting this, they should learn how to listen
Mhm.
to everyone around and explore all the people in the team, explore their strengths, their motivation, and what they can do to improve this and to make them leaders like they are. One of the most nice things about my team, I think, is the way that I can go away and they can do the job.
Mhm.
So right now the team is really good, and they are even better than me to do the tasks.
Mhm.
So this is a great feeling, and this would be what I suggest is to hear the people, find out what your team likes, find out what makes them move,
Mhm.
and make it possible for them to grow that way.
Nice. Thank you very much, Anna. It was a great conversation. And I think, like I mentioned in the beginning, that we are celebrating the Girls in ICT Day. And maybe I think an advice for everyone that is listening to us is to also share with girls what you do and the impact of the work, right? I think these conversations that we have so far have been a lot about impact, right? The impact, I think we women really like the impact of our work. It's not only about doing things for the sake of doing them, but it's also about the impact that can have in the teams, in the clients, in the people we work with. And I think a lot of the times we miss this conversation when we are talking with girls about, like, maybe a career in tech might be for them, right? And but we need to talk about the impact, not about the technology per se, but the impact of what they might build can have, right? So I think this is my advice to the people that are listening to us. Let's celebrate Girls in ICT Day. We still have a long way to go to bring more women to technology. And yeah, but thank you very much. And
Thank you.
thank you for listening.